Good evening, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the fifth. Yes, it is Tuesday, June 16th. I'm feeling good about myself because I was on a hiatus and I'm trying to have more consistency. So, yeah, I'm rocking like 2 weeks in a row. Not that I didn't do it before, but I'm rocking 2 weeks in a row. So, yes, I'm feeling good about myself. I am a person that likes to celebrate little wins, even for myself. So thank you for joining, wherever you may be joining from. Facebook, the fifth one, Facebook, my life coaching page, Facebook, Sandy Delise. If you're joining me from my YouTube channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight, we're going to jump right into it. And I'm just going to go because, let me just give y'all an upfront disclaimer and a warning. I am going to try my best to not be too personal, but if you know me, I'm pretty transparent. So tonight you just get what you get, and I just pray the good Lord just help your girl out tonight. So tonight we're talking about this. Be honest. Are you really surprised? That's just a blanket statement. Be honest. Are you really surprised? Right? When you come across things that slap you in the face, right? Or you're like, ooh, shocked. I didn't know that was going to happen. Are you really surprised though? Are you really, really surprised? Knowing, and I'm going to say this because this is me and whoever else wants to be honest with themselves, right? We ignore red flags, we dismiss intuitions, right? And then when the outcome comes, we're like shocked, like, woe is me, why me? Now, don't get it twisted that I'm not acting like everything is all hunky dory, right? Everything is all good, like I got it all together. Nobody has it all together, especially when you've gone through a season in your life where you have gone through that feeling shocked. But we're going to go through the process tonight, and you eventually get to the part where you say to yourself, am I really surprised though? Because sometimes you really are not, right? I'm pretty sure a lot of us has looked back at a situation that we've had, and then the outcome we anticipated all along is not what we see. Okay, many of us have done that. Like whether whether you've ignored the warning signs in a relationship, whether you've ignored the warning signs in a friendship, whether you've ignored the warning signs in a work environment, right? Whether you've ignored, this is a big one, your own personal habits, right? So many times we are our worst enemies and we cause our demise because there are things that we do and we know full well at the end of the day, it's not going to service a productive purpose, right? It's not going to give us the outcome that we're expecting. But in the moment, and this can go for everything relationship, friendship, work environments, personal habits. In the moment, it possibly feels good that you do not want to face the reality of what possibly could be the outcome. So you just keep on and you keep pushing, knowing that what you're going to get really, you're going to have to also deal with that, right? And that in itself sucks because what you're ultimately doing is hiding from yourself, hiding from what you know to be true, hiding from your feelings. And a lot of people like to say hiding from having, I don't know, hard conversations, maybe. Many people, and I won't say all, and I won't say most, right? Because that's too broad, and I don't know everybody in the world. A lot of people are not honest with themselves. They're not honest with other people. They're not honest about the things they do or the places they go because they are afraid of having hard conversations, right? And I'll just say this, if you see me looking and I'm going to look over, I'm really just making sure that there's comments that I'm not missing for people that are on and want to be interactive. All right. So here we are. We're like, why do we ignore these signs? Why do we ignore them in friendships, relationships, work environments, and even our personal habits? For starters, I'm just going to say this and just know that you don't have to agree with everything I'm saying. I'm just the person that's on the mic. I do some research. Okay. So I'm not just talking out the side of my neck like I just want to be heard. One of the biggest reasons we ignore red flags, we ignore our intuitions, we ignore what we know to be so true is fear. Point blank, period. Fear. At the underlying cause of a lot of these things is you are fearful of something. You are fearful of change. You are fearful of addressing what comes with accepting what is. You're fearful of confrontations. You're fearful of being dismissed. The list can go on and on and on. Okay, so let's unpack this bit by bit. All right, let's talk about ignoring red flags and one of the most juiciest things people like to talk about: relationships. Relationships. All kinds of ships, situationships, friendships, whatever kind of ship you're in. Okay, fear, fear of change. Okay, so many times you are in a relationship with someone. Okay, we're gonna just package friendships and relationships together. Hold up, I got a comment. Very true, very true. God chosen 29 says very true. It is fair. All right. So many times you are in a relationship with a person, and you know that addressing that thing that whether you don't like it a little bit, whether it gets under your skin so much that you just let that thing fester inside of you, or whether or not you know that no matter what you say, that person honestly is going to go in one ear and out the next. All right. Let me just tell y'all this right quick. So I'm looking at myself, right? When I touch this ear, it's opposite. I touch this ear, it's opposite. So I was kind of messed up a few minutes ago, but it's all good. I'm back on track. Yeah, so you're fearful of that person's response. And that in itself puts you in a prison. That is the remedy for honestly not taking care of yourself emotionally. And I hate to say it, a lot of times when you don't take care of yourself emotionally, it will manifest into physical pains and physical outcomes for you yourself. So it is important. Yes, we don't want to have those confrontations when you're in some type of relationship, whatever. You don't want to stir the pot, stir the pot, stir the pot. Okay. I can tell you right now, me, myself, personally, yes, I'm talking about those three people, me, myself, and personally me. Okay. I am a person that, let me not say right now, let me just say previously. I was the person that would stir the pot. I don't like what you do. I'm going to address it. I don't like what you say. I'm going to address it. I don't like the way that you make me feel. I'm going to address it. Okay. I'm not saying I don't address it now. I just address it from a more mature place because now I do understand that when I address it, I don't have to be, you know, about it, right? I can just come at you, say what I need to say. And here is the most important thing that I learned. When I address it, I am not addressing it based on what I think your reaction is going to be. I am addressing it for the sole fact of taking care of my heart, taking care of my soul, taking care of my physical well being, and all of that good stuff. Okay, I'm just trying to tell you. Okay, for those of you that know me, I've come a long way. I can tell you the amount of, and I'm going to be, like I said, transparent in so many places. I can tell you the amount of headaches, headaches, and I'm saying headaches for days, for months at a time, for weeks at a time, because I would not address the issue. And because I didn't address the issue, I was angry. When I tell you I was angry, I was angry. If you held a penny in your hand and you dropped it, okay, before it even hit the floor, if I was in that state of mind, I was probably angry 6, 7, 8 times over because I wouldn't address it. Why? Because the person that I needed to address, there was a lack of communication and nothing was being reciprocated. One of the worst things is telling someone how you feel calmly, telling someone what they did that hurt your feelings calmly, telling someone the way that they behavior disrespects you as a person calmly, and you are ignored, neglected, and rejected. Okay? That in itself will put you in a space where you are going to be angry. All right? But you have to understand what that outcome is going to be. It is only affecting you. And yes, you want to think and you want to say, yes, but I'm talking to this person. Yeah, they're angry. Okay, they are because of what you're addressing. But at the end of the day, you are the person that ultimately pays for it. The headaches that you have, are you surprised? Your blood pressure rising. Be honest. Are you really surprised? Some people really go to the deep end and they can't get out of bed. They don't do this, that, and the third. Be honest. Are you really surprised? And I want you to understand when I say these things, I am not saying it for a lack of compassion to your feelings. I am not at all. Okay? My end game is always to let you know that when I speak about these things, there is so much freedom on the other side of facing the reality of what is happening right in front of you. We cannot continue to minimalize or rationalize warning signs. With that being said, yes, there is a way to address it. Okay? As a teacher, I always say this: an escalated person cannot de escalate an escalated person. Okay? Nowadays, we say we match energies. Okay? We match energies. So if I'm coming at you yelling, screaming because I don't like what you did, are you really surprised the outcome is that you're yelling at me? Really? Are you really surprised the outcome is that you're ignoring me? Especially if one, that is not the way that you want to address it, or two, that is not the way that the person wants to receive it because they're really not going to reciprocate the conversation anyway. So, really, you're just hurting yourself, right? For a long time, you have minimized the warning signs that you have seen. I pray to God that you don't end up being in a relationship or a friendship or a work environment for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and beyond, where you keep minimizing the warning signs that you see. Okay. And sometimes you watch those warning signs, you watch other people in situations, and you can see all the warning signs and they can't see it. Well, guess what? The same goes for you. Let's just be honest. The same goes for you. People are watching you too, and there's 1,000,005 warning signs, and you yourself are not seeing it. But here's my question: are you really not seeing it? Are you really blind to it? Are you fearful of the confrontation for real? Are you fearful of being dismissed? A lot of people do not like to be dismissed, especially when I'm talking to you about something that is near and dear to me. And I feel like ultimately it'll make our friendship or it'll make our relationship a little bit better. I don't want to be dismissed, but one of the biggest things that we don't take into consideration is the person on the other side. Here's the big question I'm going to ask you. When you are ready to have this conversation, have you ever stopped and asked yourself, are they ready to have this conversation? Are they truly ready to have this conversation? I'm just going to say it. It is unfair for you to want to have a conversation with somebody without having given them the opportunity to say, I am ready to talk about this. Okay? I am ready to talk. And it could be your friend, like, sis, bro, this is what I see. Because sometimes you just want to feel like you want to mind your business, right? But, you know, I tell people a lot of times it's not what you say, it's how you say it, especially when you're dealing with your friends, right? Because we always like to start out and say, um, I'm telling you this because I love you. Here's the thing, for people that are not ready to deal with the fear of what they absolutely already know, me telling you this because I love you, they're still going to hear it the way that they want to hear it. Okay? Selfishly, what I want you to take from this that I'm saying is that when you want to address something, it is because you are seeking something for yourself. You're seeking some type of relief. Okay? And you've already decided that you're done with the fear of whatever is going to come and you're ready to hit it dead on. All right? So do your best. Don't minimize the warning signs. Don't rationalize it. Don't try to make things make sense. Okay? Don't try to make things make sense that you know absolutely does not make sense. All right? Here is the relationship tip. Do not try to rationalize the things that you do based on the potential that you see in somebody. Let me say this again for myself. Do not try to rationalize or make excuses for a person based on the potential that you see in them. When someone shows you who they are, believe it. When your friends show you who they are, believe it. I'm going to be there for you. Maybe you don't have the capacity to be there for me, depending on what the situation is. I'm okay with that. Maybe you don't have the capacity to be there for me a second time, depending on what the situation is. I'm okay with that too. Because there's a saying that I've heard and I live by it. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And as you get older and as you mature, you're going to realize that I don't do things for someone because I want something in return, but I will also realize that you're not there for me. And I'm not saying the way that I was there for you. I just need you to show up in the best way that you can show up. Because I know I'm a giving person. I have a heart for people. I'm very empathetic. But it doesn't mean I should expect the same from you. I don't expect exactly the same, but show me something. Like, give me something I could work with, because it just comes with the territory of friendship. It comes with the territory of relationships. We're not all the same. We don't all speak the same love language. And that goes for friendships and relationships. We don't all speak the same language, right? So sometimes we get stuck in this mindset because it just really feels better to act like what matters doesn't really matter. Fair. All right. And I wish I could come up with an acronym for fair. If anybody listening got a good acronym for fair, drop it in the comments. Let me share it with everybody. But off the top of my head, I'm not going to sit here and try to come up with something about fair. All right. So when you sit there, it's going to cost you, your mindset. You're not going to have clarity when your soul is not at ease. All right. It is okay to talk about the things that hurt you. And if you can't talk about it with the person that is hurting you, your friend, your significant other, the work environment that you're in, that you need to talk to your boss about something, I mean, my thing is people are people, and I'm not afraid to speak to anybody. People are people. Again, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. All right? Is it going to cost you too much if you just walk away? It you could have invested however much you want to invest in something. Nothing is in that important when it costs you your peace. You could have invested years. Because here's the thing, people are either going to change or eventually people are going to finally feel free enough and relaxed enough to show you who they really are. And you have invested a whole lot of time and a whole lot of effort. But I say to you, is it worth your peace? Okay. All right, Tori, you're right. Here's the acronym for FAIR: false evidence appearing real. I have heard that before, Tori, but thank you for dropping that. False evidence appearing real. Exactly what we're talking about. Minimizing what is actually happening, rationalizing and making excuses for what is going on. False evidence appearing real. All right. But here's a question. What happens when what we expect overrides our reality? This is the boat that we're in. We're really in a boat that eventually is going to sink because it is only your reality, especially when you're thinking your reality is somebody else's reality. You know what I'm saying? So many friendships are broken up because people are just not compatible. I don't like the way you do things, right? But yet I'm gonna still rock with you because I'm afraid of telling you that what you're doing is not okay. All right. I can tell you for me in my past, I've broken away from friendships, you know what I'm saying? Just people that have been married or had a significant other and they're just being unfaithful. And I know it. I just walk away. I just walk away because that's not where my value lies. That's not who I am. And I can't continue to just be in that space like that and be in your person's space, knowing that behind closed doors or behind their back, you're doing a lot of, unfair and dirty stuff. It's just not. You do you. You do you. You know what I'm saying? I don't hate you. You do you. I just know that I'm going to exit stage left and you can stay and be the main character in your own play. But I just don't have to be a part of that show. Um, they always say birds of a feather flock together, and that's not the feathers I want to have. I need my feathers to stay fluffy so I could be light, you know what I'm saying, and share what I need to share. So I'm not doing that. All right. So when you let your judgment or what you expect override the reality of what it is, you're really living on hope. You're living on a hope and a prayer. And that in itself clouds your judgment because you really are not seeing what's really there. Or maybe you really are. All right. The stories you tell yourself about people and situations, you accept it. Everything that you tell yourself about somebody that you know is not true. Tori, I feel you. Tori said, right, I'm out. Yeah, you know how we get down. I'm not dealing with that, man. Let's go. Right? The stories you tell yourself about people is the bad part. Let me see if I can explain this in the right way. When you tell yourself a story about somebody that you know it's not true, and you are constantly trying to convince yourself to believe the false narrative that they don't even know you're creating, that's crazy. Like my sister says, that's crazy work. That is super crazy work, right? Stop making up stories. I'll give you a good thing. If you want to write stories, go write a book. Put that in a book because people live in fantasy worlds all the time. And some people love to read fantasies. So write a book and put it out there, but stop making yourself believe the false narrative because you're fearful of what will come with confronting or addressing what you actually know. All right? Just accept people for who they are. You are who you are. I am who I am. But here's the cool thing: you have a choice whether or not you're going to rock with me. I have a choice whether or not I'm going to rock with you. I can rock with you all day long, but I may not just rock with you depending on the places that you go. We can be friends. We can talk. I can be there for you. You can be there for me. But there's certain places that you're going to go that I'm not going to go. There's certain people that you're going to be hanging out with that I'm not going to be hanging out with. Like I said, it doesn't mean I don't like you. It just means that I know you. I know who you are and I know what you about. Like they say, know your people. I know my people. Okay? Now, here's another thing when you talk about relationships and friendships, work environment situation. We all see patterns. Recognize the patterns for what they are. Accept the patterns for what they are. I'm not saying that people cannot change. There is a God and he is a miracle worker. So people can change. Here's the thing. You cannot change them. That's just the piece about it. You're the person that cannot change them. You can talk to them. You can share your advice. You can share your opinions if that's what they're willing to listen to. But know that you can't change them. Recognize the patterns. Don't make excuses for the patterns that you see. All right? Don't make excuses for it. All right? Because these friendships, situationships, relationships at work, your work environment, you and your personal bad habits, you're eventually going to fall by the wayside. All right? So when you finally decided that this is going to be tricky right here, is it possible for you to betray yourself? Is it possible for you to betray yourself? So much in the fact that when you lose something, you act like it's a shock to you knowing that you've been ignoring it. Are you really betraying yourself when you stop and finally say enough is enough? It's just the psyche. Some people might look at it and say, I'm ready to make a change. Some people honestly struggle with making changes for themselves because they are shocked by the positive outcome. You'll be surprised how many people hate on positivity. You'll be surprised how many people have had such a rough life or a rough upbringing or a rough relationship or a rough friendship that they cannot even embrace goodness for themselves. Now, that is something that is very painful. When you cannot embrace goodness for yourself, let me say something to you. You deserve to be good to yourself. You deserve to teach people and allow people to be good to you. You have to do it for yourself. All right. So when you're finally met with somebody betraying something or you lose something and you've been ignoring it, you got to move past the surprise and you got to shift. This is where we're going to shift to the mindset of being self aware. What is your worth? What is your worth? And I'm not talking about putting a price tag on yourself. I'm just saying, what are you worth to yourself? What do you expect from yourself? And what do you expect of yourself? How do you treat yourself? And how do you expect other people to treat you? Right? If you're behaving in a way that's disrespectful to yourself, come on, be honest. Are you really going to be surprised when people treat you disrespectfully? Right? If you talk about yourself in a certain manner, are you really going to be surprised when somebody else talks about you or talk to you about yourself in that manner? Like the way that you treat yourself is the exact way that you're teaching people how to treat you. So move from that mindset of betrayal. Move from that mindset of being surprised, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened to me. Shift your mindset and now become self aware. Become self aware of what you like. Become self aware of what you don't like. Become self aware of the way you talk to yourself. Become self aware of the way you talk to other people about yourself. Become self aware of the positions that you put yourself in that tell people how to respect you or not respect you. This is all about you, right? This is about you because ultimately you have the decision of how you're going to show up in this world. And how you show up is the way that people are going to treat you because I guarantee you this. If you show up for yourself with respect and kindness and love and gratitude, and you come across somebody that's not treating you in that manner, you're not going to be surprised about it. But what you are going to know is that you're not going to allow yourself to be in that person's space because you don't like it. You're not going to like the way that it makes you feel. Absolutely not. And I can tell you that from experience. Okay, you ever hear people always just cringe about being around a certain person. Just cringe about being in a certain place. Like you're not comfortable at all. Like for instance, if you're a person that don't like to go to the clubs, but then you want to not say no, so you show up at the club and you're just in a corner like a wallflower, inside just aching, and you hate being there because that's not really you. That's not your scene. But you're afraid of being dismissed. You're afraid of being rejected. So many grown people do things because they're afraid of not being invited to something. You can't be fearful. You only got one life to live. So why not live it in the best way that you can, making yourself happy? Because you'll come across people that see how you feel about you and how you treat yourself, and they're also going to do things that will make you happy. And then you'll be in the company, of the right people. So shift your mindset to being self-aware. When you have self-awareness, you love yourself properly, right? Let me say that. When you are self-aware of what you like and don't like, where you want to go and where you don't want to go, you love yourself properly. And if you're going to love yourself properly, why not put yourself in a position or around people that will also love you properly? And it's not going to be hard. It's not going to be hard at all because that is just the way that you show up. You understand what I'm saying? So here's what you do when you become self aware, you trust your instincts. That is one of probably the hardest things to do. Trusting your instincts, especially when your instincts are opposite of what has been your norm. That's very hard to do because it's uncomfortable, right? But growth doesn't happen if you're always comfortable. You have to be uncomfortable in order to grow. So trust your instincts, even if it means moving away from what feels familiar to you. Set healthy boundaries. I've been talking about it and I've been touching on it. Set healthy boundaries. If you know this is something you don't like, set healthy boundaries. Do not allow someone or make somebody think that you're okay with something that you know you're not okay with. Okay? Set healthy boundaries. Like I've already said earlier, identify the reoccurring patterns. Identify the way people speak. Identify the way people show up. Identify the way you speak. Identify the way you show up. And if you don't like how you show up and how you speak, then identify it and change it. Okay, you only have one life to live. It is your life. All right. It is important that you turn disappointments into personal growth. Okay, that is like my mantra. Like I was at a church group one time, and like I told somebody, I was like, "Yo, I'm a pop star. I'm a pop star. Positive on purpose, because then it shifts your mindset. Then it doesn't just become something that I'm acting like I know how to do. I honestly know how to do it. Like positivity is my thing, which is why I started a podcast, which is why I'm also a life coach. All right. I love positivity. It does not mean that I am oblivious to the fact that there is a lot of negativity going on. It doesn't mean that I cannot recognize when someone is being negative. It doesn't mean that I don't recognize when there are negative situations happening around me. Some situations I don't have the power to impose my positivity on it. Self awareness, I know I need to walk away. If there's a group of 4 or 5 people and this is their pattern, what makes me think I want to jump in and put my positivity on them to change this? These are those people, and that's what they're doing. Now, if you start to come towards me because you like what I'm about, right? Then I'm not imposing my will on you. You decided that you like what I'm about, and maybe there's a shift and a change that you want. Don't get it twisted. I'm not always positive because I'm a human being, but I am positive on purpose. Very much, a lot of times, most of the time, like 90% of the time. I am very much turning any disappointment into personal growth. All right. And I speak for myself. I have been through disappointment. I have been through betrayal. I have been through disrespect, I have been through neglect. I have been through, just one of the worst things people could have gone through. But I decided to not sit in it, sulk in it, say, woe is me. I turned my disappointment into personal growth. I am better in myself educationally. I am better in myself physically. I am better in myself spiritually because I made a decision to not sit in it and be like, am I really surprised? Yeah, I can tell you for sure. 7 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago, I was absolutely surprised. And I mean, I was surprised. But now that I've given myself the space, and I want to give you this word right here, I have given myself the space, the permission, and the authority to shift my mindset. Let me put you on game. Give yourself the space, give yourself permission, and give yourself the authority to shift your mindset so that you are able to embrace personal growth. You will grow every day. You will grow in ways that you're going to shock yourself. And then you get to ask the question again, are you surprised? And now you can honestly sit and say, I am a little bit, but I know the work that I've put in. So it's not that I'm being cocky, but I do expect good things to come to me because I'm not distracted and I have clarity and I've given myself permission to show up the way I need to show up for myself that builds me up. All right. So here's some questions while I wrap this up. I'm moving into my like 45-ish minute a little bit. Here's some questions I'm going to relate and leave it out there for you to think about. If you've had yourself in a place where you have been fearful of change, fearful of how somebody's going to react about something, fearful of not stepping up to the plate to do what's right for yourself. All right. What signs have you ignored in the past that have diminished who you are as a person? What signs have you ignored in the past that have diminished how you show up for yourself? What are some things that you already know that wasn't working, but then you don't want to admit it? What do you already know and you're scared to admit it to yourself because of how? Here's something because you are afraid of change. So you don't want to admit it, right? What boundaries did you not protect for your peace? You decided to let somebody not only put their toe across that line, but put their whole foot across your boundaries, and your peace has been disturbed, right? Let me tell you this peace is like weight. I mean, at least for women, you could put on weight in a skinny minute. It don't even make sense. Put on weight in a skinny minute. That don't even make sense. But people say it. You would put weight on easily, but it is so hard to take it off. When you allow somebody to put their whole foot and disrespect the boundaries that you decided to ignore, it's going to be so hard for you to get your peace back. The work to get your peace back to where it was before, if you had it, takes so much work. But you got to trust the process. Don't give up, don't give in. Trust the process and allow yourself to get back to peace. All right? And trust yourself more moving forward. Trust you. If you don't trust anybody else, trust you. Trust how you want to show up no matter where you are. Trust how you're going to show up in a relationship. Trust how you're going to show up in your friendships. Trust how you're going to show up in your work environment. Trust how you're going to show up, most importantly, for yourself. If you're going to create personal habits, I just ask you and I beg you to let those personal habits be positive ones. Be positive. Things that's going to embellish your life. Things that's going to take you to another level. Right? It doesn't mean you're going to be an overnight success and you're going to be rich just like this. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about living a healthy, prosperous life that you can be proud of. A healthy, prosperous life that God can be proud of that you're living for yourself. A healthy, prosperous life, you have children that they can look at you and say, that's my mom, that's my dad, that's my grandma, that's my cousin, my brother, my sister, whoever it may be. All right. Trust yourself moving forward. what you're going to do for yourself. All right. So in closing, here's two things that I'm going to, it's a quote, and I don't know who it's from, but I'm going to say this. All right. The goal isn't to blame yourself for what happened, it's to learn from what you overlooked. Okay. I'm going to say that again. The goal of finding your self awareness is not to blame yourself for what happened. That will get you nowhere. Okay. Learn from the things that you overlooked. The only thing that happens from that is that you become a better you for you and the people that you love. All right. And awareness turns repeated lessons into lasting growth. Okay. Becoming self aware will turn repeated lessons into lasting growth. So if you have been in a place where you have allowed the same things to happen over and over and over, stop and change that into growth. And let growth be the thing that is lasting versus the repeated patterns that you have been ignoring. Let those lessons be positivity for growth. All right? So if you are in a place where you are still not being honest with yourself and you are consistently being surprised about what the outcome is, find it within yourself to change for yourself. Change for yourself, change for the people around you, change for the people that you love. Change for yourself because you are worth it. You are worth the change. This life that you've been given is such a beautiful thing to live. So don't be on the side of, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. If it does, okay. But don't let it be a repeating pattern. Recognize the patterns that people show you. All right. Recognize the areas that you are where there's no growth. And you need to shift your mindset, become self aware, trust your intuition, don't blame yourself for your downfalls, and give yourself permission to grow. Give yourself the authority to grow, and give yourself the space to grow. That is what I am bringing to you today in my episode of Be Honest. Are you really surprised? If you like what I have to say, I ask you to follow me, like my podcast, subscribe to my podcast, and share my podcast. Follow me on YouTube, follow me on Facebook at the fifth one on Facebook, on YouTube. I'm the fifth one, 77. All right. So I'll leave you with blessings. I'll leave you with growth for yourself. I'll leave you with a shift in your mindset that will change your trajectory upward. All right. And God bless you. So always remember, if you can do that, my future will be forward, your future will be forward, and together we will create a future that's always moving forward. God bless y'all. Have a good night. Take care.